Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Dread Pirate Maki. I still actually haven't decided if I actually like that name or if I just think it's funny. I'm trying about a little bit of a different format today, but I also got a tripod, as you can tell, so I don't have to sit on my desk and do it and feel like a noob. I am not Mudahar. I think actually you can see the trash bag down there, so please just ignore that. I have a trash can in my room. I'm just too lazy to put the bag in and take it out, so I just keep a bag. But okay, actually I did have a tech topic I wanted to talk about today. So thank you for watching. Please sub if you don't mind, it helps me out. And welcome to another tech talk with Maki. So I was thinking about this a few days ago. I'm actually off of work right now. I'm on vacation, but I think about it a lot when I'm there because most of the time the question is Apple or Android. But that's a logical fallacy. So Apple and Android can't really be compared to each other for a couple of reasons. But the biggest one is that Apple is a company, right? A trillion-dollar company started by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. We all know this. Android is an operating system, not a company. And I feel like from the Apple perspective, which is the majority of the people in the United States, that doesn't compute, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, this is not going to be a perfect scenario, a perfect comparison, but when you say Apple versus Android, it's essentially the same as saying PS4 versus Windows. I realize PS4 is not a company. It's the product of the company, but that's the only thing I could think of that made sense. So when you sit down with your kid and you're like, do you want a PS4 for your birthday, or are you a PC gamer? Console player versus PC gamer is the same thing. PS4 versus PC is not the same thing at all. Because what you really are saying is, do you want to play on Windows with a controllable PC, or do you want to play on a console? It's one of the reasons I think there's so much confusion around this topic, because when an Apple person hears Apple versus Android, what they hear is Apple made this feature, so why can't Android make this feature? As if Android is the company that's making every single Android device, but that's not how it works. Us in the tech community, we already understand this. We already understand that there are thousands of companies making Android phones because it's open source and anyone can use it. Now, if you were to say Apple versus Google, that would be a better comparison. Apple versus Samsung, kind of. I'm going to get into that in just a second, but Apple versus Google, because Apple is the one that makes and designs iOS and their processors and the phones together to be one unanimous product. Google has started doing that as well. So really comparing Apple and Google is closer than Apple and Android, because Google writes and creates and owns Android. They also make the Tensor processor that's in every Google phone, and they obviously produce the phone just like Apple does. Samsung is Windows for computers. Windows, you walk into a Best Buy, you go to the computer section, you're gonna have Mac and you're gonna have Windows, and that's every other company. So HP, Lenovo, Dell, everything that's out there right now. Every one of those computers has Windows on it, but it's just slapped on it and then they call it a day. Like, they've all got the same processors, they've all got the same internals, it's all pretty much the same thing as far as pre-built computers go, but it's all got Windows on it. So what Samsung does is they make 100 million phones, like 14 phones every year, and they load Android onto it and they put their own skin over it called One UI to make it feel Samsung, which is fine because I used to use something called TouchWiz, which was terrible and everyone hated it. But really, what it's doing, like, so when you sign into a Samsung device, it's going to ask you for your Google account, it's going to ask you for your Samsung account, and then once you get into the phone, it's going to ask you if you want to back up your photos to OneDrive, and if you want to use OneNote or Samsung Notes to back up your notes. And then it's going to have a contacts folder on there, but it's not going to be connected to your Google account unless you manually connect it or you download the Google Contacts app, which is integrated with your Google account. So it's very fragmented, and that's the reputation that Android has gotten because Samsung doesn't clean their devices very well, and it's not very polished. So when some large tech reviewers say, is Samsung the Apple of Android? Definitely it is not, because the Apple of Android would be a phone where the processor, the software, and the phone are designed to work unanimously under the same umbrella, just like iOS and Apple, which would be Google, because Google owns all those things. So all that to say, super short video. Thank you for watching. But all that to say, I don't think there's a solution to this. You can't really say like Apple versus Google because no one knows what you're talking about. So Apple versus Android essentially gets the point across, but my whole point is that it's a logical fallacy and that you really are not equating two of the same things. Hello, editing Maki here. You could say you're comparing apples and oranges, and I don't know why I didn't think of that. It's like the most obvious joke. You're equating a company that makes only their one device and hand keys their own software for their own device and no one else is allowed to touch it versus an open source software that's used on every single other device in the entire world. And that's not the same thing. So again, if you don't mind subscribing, that helps me out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.